get a jump on the program. Let's get on the right. So National put out a video that is for these early adopter packs, and should be coming up any second now. Yay. It's about 15 minutes long. We're going to watch about 10 minutes of it that deals with the actual family scouting program. Earlier in the video, they talk about some other changes happening to the Cub Scout program anyway. Mainly they're taking and giving a specific color to every program year. The main change is to the wolf rank. Their color is not going to be yellow. Yellow is going to be for lions, and so the wolves are going to have I think the wolves are going to be red. So their neckerchiefs will be red, their hats will be red. You don't have to throw away all your old wolf stuff. You can keep using that. It'll be okay. The color police aren't going to show up to your packing.
Give me just a second.
What about all the other resources?
Absolutely. The Den Leader Guides, Cub Scout Leader Guide, and all the other collateral such as advancement charts and certificates will all be available for the 2018-19 program year.
Well, these changes certainly will make it easier for families who are new to scouting to understand the program. So let's move on to the details about welcoming girls and new families into Cub Scouting. We're going to address youth protection, Cub Scout camping, and the requirements to participate in the early adopter program. Effective January 1st, 2018, the following applies to what is required for 2D leadership for Cub Scouting when girl Cub Scouts are involved. One registered adult leader and one other adult, with whom must be 21 years old or older, and a youth protection trained adult female must be present. In this case, if you have an all-girl den meeting and a den leader and an assistant den leader who are both men, then an adult female who is youth protection trained must also be present. If you have an all-girl program, you may have all-adult female leadership, of course, but both females must be at least 21 years or older, and both must be youth protection trained. And at least one must be a registered leader in the BSA.
In Cub Scouting, overnight and outdoor activities are designed for the family. Parents attend overnight activities with their child. Camping opportunities for Cub Scouting will not change. Those opportunities include resident camps, Weeblo's Den overnight campouts, council-organized family camp, and pack overnighters. Resident camps and council-organized family camps must comply with National Camp Accreditation Standards. However, for pack overnighters and Weeblo's Den overnight campouts, the policies are this. The current policy of having at least one blue-trained adult in attendance will remain the same. In addition, male and female adult leaders must be present for all overnight scouting trips and outings, even those including parent and child, unless all youth and adults are the same gender. Both male and female adult leaders must be 21 years of age or older and currently youth protection trained, and at least one must be a registered member of the BSA. So, if you have an all-boy Weeblo's Den going on a campout, the leadership for that activity can be all men. If you have an all-girl Weeblo's Den going on a campout, the leadership for that activity can be all women. Our current tenting policy remains in effect, and those are, as a reminder, no adult may share a tent with the opposite sex unless he or she is the adult's spouse. No youth may share a tent with an adult or person of the opposite sex other than a family member or a guardian. Assigning youth members more than 2 years apart in age to sleep in the same tent should be avoided unless those youth are relatives. Remember that whenever possible, separate showers and bathroom facilities should be provided for male adult and female adults, and male youth and female youth. If separate facilities are not available, separate shower times must be scheduled and clearly regularly posted. Yes, early adopter packs may participate in spring Cub campouts such as pack overnighters or council organized family camps. Remember, council organized family camps must meet national camping accreditation standards, even if these events are not at council owned or operated facilities.
Well, now that we have those policies in place, it's time to welcome girls into Cub Scouting. Starting as soon as January 15th, 2018, your packs will have an opportunity to participate in an early adopter program. The purpose of developing an early adopter program is to meet the current demand of packs who already have the capacity to deliver a family program. It will give us an opportunity to observe and perhaps learn some lessons that we can really only learn by providing this opportunity. There are the requirements for the early adopter program, however. First, the charter partner and the PAC committee adopts you.
All right, so just to summarize, she goes on to say all the rest of the rules to be an early adopter pack. We're not gonna dwell on that. You can watch at your leisure if you're really intrigued. One of the things we were concerned about is, one of the requirements was all the girls had to register between January 15th and February 15th, and they had to earn, you had to commit as a pack that they were gonna earn their rank advancement for their grade level between joining time and May 15th. Yeah, so that's a pretty short timeline, and we just, as a council, felt like we weren't ready, and that most of our packs probably wouldn't be ready. Again, this video is there online. You've got the link in the description. You can watch it if you want. And I think that's it for my section.
Okay, Bill, thank you very much. Now Bill and Bill Eggleston will give some answers to some frequently and infrequently asked questions.
Actually, Bill, before we move off that, could you show them the council website?
Yeah, sure thing.
So that link on the front page is gonna go right where Bill's gonna show you. And there's a link from there to national. Who is working with Methodist churches? There's a letter from the Methodist Church supporting this. Catholics, a letter. LDS, there's a letter. Baptist, there's a letter on the national site.
So folks, if you scroll, if you go to the council website and go to resources, there's a tab here called Scouting for the Whole Family. And you click there, and we've got basically an informational page where you can get more stuff. It's got some of the things that were in this document. It's got an FAQ, and we're going to be adding more things to this page as we go. You click here, it'll take you right to the National Council's Family Scouting page, and they've got lots more information available, the letters that Bill was referencing, and even some videos here, interview with the chief and a scene interview he did back in October.
Our goal is to keep building content, so you have as much information as we have. But as you have seen some of our visits, we don't have all the information we want at this point. There's still a lot more coming, especially about the Boy Scout program. Right now, we're focusing on the girls on the Cub Scout program, because that's now. One of the dates in the calendar, so there's three calendars. The calendar keeps evolving, and some of you have seen the early versions. That's why I inadvertently added 3, is what I'll say. It was an accident. But the newest calendar is the last one. And the most important date to keep in mind is the council will be accepting applications from girls on August 1st. That question comes up a lot. What's the first date? First date is August 1st, in advance of Joint Scout Nights. This line leads to the question that comes up that Bill and I have seen a bunch. What about girls who come to Cub Day camps this summer? You can give them an application, but it can't be handed in until August 1st. There won't be any changes in terms of girls at Cub Day camp. We're not ready for that yet. Because if they're there, they have to be registered. If they're registered, they have to be in den. If they're in den, they have to have registered leaders.
Many of our day camps allow siblings of boys who are currently attend day camp to come and be a part of that. That's great. Those siblings are covered by the BSA's liability insurance policy. But girls who are not, a sibling of a existing Cub Scout, that's where we actually don't have coverage for them. And so they actually can't join and be a part of be a part of Cub Scouting until August 1st. They're a sibling of an existing Cub Scout, just as in past years. They're welcome to be a part of day camps and adventure camp if their family chooses to do so.
We're planning on, the Internal Communication Committee is planning on coming to the UP3s and working with your membership chair, if there's a table or a booth or however your UP3 is structured this year. If there's a space, we'd like to come and answer questions directly. If you'd like us to be there, we'll be there. With as much up-to-date information as we can provide about both Cub Scouting and the Boy Scout program. I want to thank John Turner and your training chairs, because based on what I understood from the meeting a couple weeks ago, there's about not maybe twice, but there's at least 1.5 times as much Cub level training being offered in May, June and again in September and October to meet the perceived need. There may be more information coming out on that soon, but that's where we're at right now. The question Bill and I have heard a whole lot is, or the concern we have heard is, do we have to have separate girl dens? The answer is yes. Do they have to have 2 deep leaders? Yes, the girl dens have to have 2 leaders. Can the girl dens and the boy dens meet together every night?
It's not in the spirit of what the National Council has said. So we are, we're gonna follow the rules they give us. And the rules are, you have boy dens and you have girl dens. We know that they're in the same Cub Scout pack though. So we're gonna have, pack camping events. And those are family camping events. And dens are gonna do some things together. That's how Cub Scout packs are. And I think the answer to that is where your existing Cub Scout pack dens are doing things together, it's probably okay for that to happen in family scouting Cub Scout packs.
We don't get enough girls to have each age group. One thought that I've heard from several units and districts is, well, can the girls all be in one den even though they're different ages? The answer is yes. But that leads to a lot of complications. But there are packs that run that way because there aren't enough boys to have a den of each age, and it's just similar. The other thing we've heard a lot is there's not enough space and we don't have enough trained leaders. All the districts are here that everywhere we go, and
well, some of those things are things that's why we've created the liaison process. So the district key 3s are right now in the process of determining who is going to go out and visit with each Cub Scout pack. These liaisons are going to talk to them about these problems, these challenges, work through that stuff, figure out, maybe they can't be a family scouting pack because they have 100 kids in their Cub Scout pack already, and there's no space in their area that's going to let them have bigger meetings. Maybe it's time to talk about splitting the pack in 2. 100 Cub Scouts is a pretty big pack. Maybe it's time to talk about a new charter organization. Maybe there's someplace else in town where they could meet. Get them to talk about ways to make this work. So the whole idea of the liaison is to go out, have conversations with packs about what's going to work through some of these challenges with them verbally, but to get everyone around a table and have that discussion. So the next step, once we know who those liaisons are, is to have a training with everyone in February. The date's set. We've already talked about it a little bit. And so we think that's the right way to move forward. We have had some odd questions about family scouting. One question was from in Battlefield District, a volunteer asked if they're already in American Heritage Girls or the Girl Scouts of the USA, will they get credit for the badge work they've done in those organizations? We don't think so, that the National Council is going to say yes to that. We don't say yes to it currently for any other comparable organizations with Boy Scouting and Cub Scouting. You got to be a member and earn your rank once you join. So we think that's what the answer is probably going to be. In some cases, we don't know all the answers because they haven't been yet revealed to us. But we've got a pretty good idea of how the Cub Scout program is going to work with all-girl dens. We are just as curious as you are about what the name of the middle school age girl program is going to be. We're tired of calling it that. I don't want to call it something else. We're interested in seeing if there's uniform changes or handbook changes or procedural changes in that program. We don't know. We do know in Cub Scouting, we're really okay at day camp and adventure camp, and most of our family camping events districts do, on integrating girls into what we're already doing, because we've been doing it. It's not like sisters haven't been coming to these events. The Family Scouting Committee does have some work cut out for us when we do find out exactly more about the middle school age girl program is going to be, in terms of what that means for Boy Scout summer camp and some of the other Boy Scout events that we traditionally have done. But like Henry said at the beginning, the third guiding principle of the committee is we don't want to mess up what's been working. So the core all-boy programs that we've been offering, we want to keep offering and make sure they're high quality. And so we're committed to that, and that is going to be a guiding force in the committee's thoughts going forward.
Our purpose isn't to force a unit to accept girls. That's not the goal. The goal is if there's obstacles, we can help them identify ways to overcome, we do that. But the liaisons are not the strong arm or the stormtroopers of making people say yes. That's not the goal. It's units that just can't make a decision, and they need a little help with maybe finding some potential obstacles, but maybe the obstacles can't be overcome. But the conversations need to be among the parents, the unit leaders. If there's a Boy Scout unit there, they should be involved in the discussion. And if there's a Girl Scout unit there already, they need to be in the discussion too, along with the sponsor organization. It needs to be a group decision. And the Cub Scout pack and the Boy Scout troop might make different decisions. But remember, the Boy Scout troop in the end can't accept girls. If there's going to be girls at that age, it has to be a separate troop. And so there's not going to be a progression of young women into a Boy Scout troop. And that's come up several times. This is the rules right now, and it's not. Why isn't there option 4 for the Cub Scouts of integrated dens? Not on the table, and integrated troops is not on the table. So we work with what we have right now and do the best we can.
One question we've got is about joint scouting night. Cub Master says, my pack is going to stay all boy. We recruit out of this elementary school. What's that going to mean for us when joint scouting night comes? And it's going to mean that we're going to have a pack that's willing to accept girls from that school, if you're not. And it's just kind of a feeling that the committee has. We don't want to, say to girls in one school, you can't join Cub Scouts because the pack that recruits out of your school doesn't accept girls. Whereas over here, the next school down the road, that pack is doing family scouting, they've got girl dens, they're accepting all the kids at the school. That doesn't seem fair to us, and it probably doesn't seem fair to you. Probably wouldn't seem fair to the girls in the school that couldn't join. So what we are saying is that we're not going to have a school where we don't recruit girls. We're going to recruit girls at every school, council-wide. And that will mean, for that pack that is staying all boy, that there's probably going to be somebody else there from a different pack at their joint scouting night to sign the girls up, to let the girls join a scouting program that's going to work for them. Is that Cub Scout pack probably going to suck the family that has a daughter and a son into them? Absolutely, probably. I mean, if I'm a parent, I'm not putting my kids in different packs. It'll be one pack. But that could happen, and so that's something that we're going to work through with these liaison discussions. One option might be that they decide to have an all-girl Cub Scout pack. That is an option. There's nothing wrong with that. We're gonna, if a charter organization and a Cub Scout pack want to help make that happen, awesome. And that might solve the problem. I think other frequently asked questions that we've gotten at some of the meetings.
Space and leadership.
Yeah, and those are the issues. Those are the issues that every pack has with serving more kids, is space and adult volunteers. we think that just like we get parents of new tigers and lions to be the den leaders for their kids, we think that's could be what happens with these all-girl dens as well. So I'm less worried about leadership, and I hope y'all are a little less worried about leadership too. But it is something to think about and to start making plans for. I think we invited folks to come here who serve at the district level, who weren't able to hear this talk at their district committee meeting or commissioner staff meeting or roundtable. But we know all of y'all have unit affiliations and are probably active in units too. So if your unit is thinking about doing family scouting, we would encourage you to start thinking about who your family scouting den leaders are going to be for your all-girl dens now. They're probably parents of existing Cub Scouts who have daughters. That would be my first place to go think about finding volunteers.
Yeah, and that's why we have the extra trainings for den leaders in May and June. And quite honestly, my wife would be very happy if there's a woman who's already a Cub leader when she joined and never having done anything with Boy Scouts if we had daughters and I didn't have sons. She's like someone who's experienced, who looks like her, already trained up and ready to go. Not for to be just the only one. No, a lot of packs already have a lot of moms as den leaders, but the more the better. And so that's why we increase it at both ends of the summer. A little bit of the timeline. Why are we asking units to make a decision by tax day? Is largely for the training, identifying packs, you can identify leaders to come to training who've not already stepped up, but also to get ready for the Joint Scout Nights because it's going to be more complex. Something John and I talked about earlier is that the Joint Scout Night training is going to be more important than ever about how to deal with both boys and girls and make sure that Arahaddock is my home district. It's not an issue. There's always 2 or 3 or more units at any school. It's just the way we've always done things, but I know it's not the way it's done in the others. So it's going to be a different paradigm. Everyone's going to have to play nice in the sandbox. When we start doing this, yeah, there are some issues, but everyone plays pretty nice. But to make sure that if it's just one unit accepting girls, there's a list of other units in the area that accept girls no matter what nights, because the pack that shows up that can accept girls may not be the one, the right night for the family, like always. And that's just, we're going to have to, like we went through this a few years ago, play nice in the sandbox to make sure there's a home for every girl who wants to join scouting that's close to home and convenient for her family. And like several of you have said, they might drag her brother there, because that's the better night at a different unit for the brother too.
All right, so we wanted to talk about the frequently asked questions, get rid of questions you might have, but we may have not gotten to all of your questions. So what questions do you have? Anything we can answer? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make sure I heard correctly. What I heard was it's okay for siblings to attend Cub Scout day camp this year.
It is and always has been, yeah.
Just not as registered scouts.
Yeah, some day camps do that and some do not. That's a day camp choice, but we've always allowed siblings to go to day camp. Usually there's, we find they wind up forming these little, I think we call them girl dens. I don't know what we call them at day camp. Who's a day camp person?
Cruz.
Girl dens?
That was my next question, is if we do have siblings, and I think I know the answer, but I'm passing it on to my program director. If we do have sibling participants, do we need to have a separate girl den for them, or can they, for this year only, be blended in with their brother?
At Adventure Camp, that's what we do. At Cub Adventure Camp, right now, if a sibling, female, a sister comes, and she's in 2nd grade, we put her in the 2nd grade boy group, and that's who she's walking around with. So, yeah, that's really a day camp question, and you guys can decide how you want to handle that. Some day camps put all the girls in one den of mixed ages, and that's how they go around at day camp. It's really up to y'all.
So it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
So the answer is, whatever happened last year is how it can be this year unless the district chooses to do it differently.
Yes, sir.
2 quick things. When the charter comes around this year, say if our pack decides to go with family scouting, is there going to be a differentiate to tell you whether this is a boy den or a girl den, or?
I don't think so.
Okay, next thing, if I understood correctly, in a girl den has to be at least one female leader.
Yeah, so,
Unlike,
they're not
unlike
saying-
on the, on a boys' side where
Yeah.
actually, I had an instance one year when I was a Cub Master where I actually had 2 female den leaders.
right, so what they're saying, and have said, is there is no requirement that there be a female leader, okay?
Okay.
You can have an all-girl den with a male den leader, a male assistant den leader.
Okay.
But they're saying there has to be an adult female who's youth protection trained present.
Okay.
So that could be a mom of one of the girls, gonna be registered, but she has to go through youth protection training, and she has to be present.
Okay.
Okay, so, that is a difference and a change. And, you know, I think most of us probably feel that makes sense, and that's okay. I don't think any of us wanna say that, you know, women have to be the leaders for, girl-led dens, cause that's not how we're handling boys. And I think the way we're doing it now is appropriate, and we're gonna keep doing that with girls. But there is someone where they're saying there has to be an adult female present in the room, protection trained, if you have all-male den leadership. Okay? Yes.
I could backpedal just a little bit to the day camp issue. Siblings, could it be the daughter of a staff member does not have a brother participate?
Yeah, that's fine, they're covered by our all I care about is that they're covered by our liability
Right, no, I
insurance.
understand. I just know this
Because
is
I don't wanna
my
get sued.
particular situation, because my
So-
boy's crossing over,
So,
but
yeah.
my daughter is gonna kill me.
As long as someone in that family is registered in scouting, you're good.
I hear you.
Bob?
A comment and a question. I don't think this has been thought through real well on a national level for rural units.
I
When you-
agree.
When you tell us in a rural unit where we are, we have 1 per county. So we're saying go to an adjacent county to find a unit if we don't do it. So I think that's something we've got to deal with. The other one is a question. I think this is wonderful for us, so please don't think I'm shooting it down. I heard a lot about research into family scouting. I've heard nothing about research into why we're sex separate. All I've heard is, that's how it is, deal with it.
Yeah, so,
And that's a contradiction that, I guess that's because I'm a statistics teacher, I'm sorry.
I'll tell you what I know,
Right.
and I'll tell you what I think.
Right.
So what I know is that gender-specific education research says two wildly different things. You can read one study that says boys in an all-boy classroom or boys in an all-girl classroom, they learn way better as gender separated. And another study says, no, they don't. They learn way better together, you know, cats and dogs in the same room. But, so the studies are, I think, any kind of scientific studies are fairly, there's a contradictory study for both sides of that dialogue. Why did the National Council go with, you know, single gender dens and not co-ed dens? Why aren't they talking about co-ed scout troops? My personal opinion is that wouldn't have gotten passed by the old folks that sit on the National Executive Board. Okay? I don't think it would have, you know, that immediate change probably wouldn't have passed muster with us. And I think it's just too radical a shift. It would also then force us to deal with some things, especially in Boy Scouting, that I'm not so sure we want to deal with right away, like the OA and so it's a challenge. But I do think that, I will say this, just my opinion, middle school kids, middle school boys and girls, their brains left them. And they haven't shown up yet. And sometime in high school, it arrives. But that 6th grade through 8th, 9th grade age frame is a scary, weird time to be a person. Okay? And so I think part of what's going on there is just the acknowledgement that that's a scary, weird time, and maybe it's a good idea to have a safe place for boys and a safe place for girls.
And I think that all comes from, just to explain it, I'm worried we're gonna bring girls in. I'm not sure how we're gonna handle it when we have 1 Weeblo girl and 1 bear and 1 wolf and 2 tiger, but like you said, we'll deal with that. But I'm worried about the fact that when they turn 11, they're gonna have nowhere to go, because in our area, it's hard to start those units, and that's, we can't say drive to Richmond to be in a girl unit, so.
And I don't know the answer to that, Bob, but.
I'm worried about communicating with those parents, cause I've already got 2 who are gonna have 5th grade daughters next year and wanna be in it. What's gonna happen to them the year after? And I think the sooner we get from National some guidance on that, and can we have 2 troops that meet in the same building at the same time?
Yes.
You know, and work, but they're completely different structure, those kind of things, those are the questions we.
And to your point, like, you know, at some point, the Lone Scout program's gonna kick in.
Right.
For those single girls
Yeah.
in those really rural areas. So there's always a way to skirt that. No pun
Think about
intended.
Lone Scout. No, I didn't think about Lone Scout.
My thought, I guess, is what they're thinking is you're gonna get enough girl cubs coming in to match the boys, so you're gonna be able to run the troops, because right now you got just the boys feeding the troop, and now you're gonna have maybe an equal number of girls in the pack as the boys, so you will be able to feed troops. It's gonna take a few years to get them started up.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna, you know, we have 8,000 Cub Scouts in our, or so in our council. I don't think we're gonna, you know, at the end of this year, have 16,000 Cub Scouts in our council. But absolutely, what we're gonna see in 2019, whatever the name of that middle school program, any kind of girl Webelow den of 5th grade girls formed this fall is gonna morph into one of those, you know, whatever the unit's gonna be called for that girl program, come whenever they should bridge up into the next level. In rural areas, Bob, yeah, it's gonna be, we're gonna have to figure stuff out.